All right. We got one person. Who we got live? Anybody? Harold, what's up, brother? Harold, you're making me interstatal. All right. Here we go. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Angie's Angles. It is November the 7th. Can you believe it? In the year of my Lord, 2024. Tonight, as promised, we're going to be discussing the New York Mets 2025 best player options available to us either via trade and or free agency. For those that follow the New York Mets, you are aware that Steve Cohen is headed out to California next week to have conversations with one Scott Boras and Juan Soto. Now, let's just get this show off the road and get this cleared up. Angie's Angles does not support a Juan Soto signing. We do not. We feel that, hey, Nick, what's going on, buddy? So yeah, Nick, we're talking about Juan Soto, but let's put you up on the big board, my friend. Nick wants to know, has anyone here heard that the Mets offered Willy Adames 7 years, $160? Yes, that's the rumor floating around, Nick, with the caveat that he's going to have to move to third base. And apparently that's a kind of a deal breaker for Willy Adames. And I suppose I can't blame him, Nick. You know, you're going from shortstop being the premier shortstop, which he is. And obviously you can't ask Francisco Lindor to do that. But maybe in 4 years, Lindor could go to third and Adames could take over at short. That's a possibility. But this signing would have a lot of domino effects, if you will, Nick. So if Adames comes on board, and let me say something before we go any further. I would sign up for Willy Adames on the New York Mets no matter what position he played. He could be the damn water boy for all I cared, as long as his back could get into that lineup. I like this kid. Kevin Elliott, a good friend of mine, turned me on to Willy Adames. The kid's got a lot of chutzpah. He's got a lot of energy. But if we get him and he agrees to go to third base, Nick, that means Vientos is going to move over to first, and then adios, Mr. Alonso, unless, it's the big unless, Pete agrees to become your DH. Now, that could help Pete. That could help and justify a 7-year contract to Pete. And let me remind my Angie's Angles family, I predicted 7 years, 210. Not so much predicted, but I said that's what the Mets should offer. I do think he's going to get north of $200 million. Somebody, Officer Lennon's in the house. What's going on, my friend? I think somebody's going to offer Alonso 200 plus. So my argument last week was, if I'm the New York Mets, if I'm David Stearns and Steve Cohen, I immediately address the elephant in the room and say, Pete, we love you. The fan base loves you. We want to see you a Met for life. Here's her offer, 7 years, 210. Give him a 72-hour window. Let him sleep on it, talk to his fiancée, maybe make a call to the Skankies, see what they're offering, et cetera, But 72 hours, that deal's off the table, Pete. Off the table. So I think we need to know, we need to have a clear vision of the names on the board who we're going after. Now, if we go after Alonso, then that handcuffs us with going after Soto in terms of dollars. Now, there's rumors coming out of Soto camp that he's looking north of 600, maybe 700 million for 13 years. Now, Soto's 26 years old. 13 years puts him at age 39. We all know that defensively he's a liability in right field. Can Soto turn into a pseudo first baseman? I don't see it. So that would make him a DH. Now, you're going to say, all right, he's not an awful DH either. Maybe that'll prolong his flexibility, his health, his production. Sure. A lot of ifs. I've always said this in my world to my kids, to my students, to my coworkers. For such a small word, if is such a large, large thing. You know, if this, then that, if that, then this. You don't know what you're going to get once you sign the player. Now, is Soto so headstrong that he just wants the money? And if perhaps the San Francisco Giants offer him a $700 million package, is he running to the West Coast? I don't know. He's got a lot to take to accountability. I mean, California's got some really harsh income tax laws. You know, you're paying a lot of money to play in San Francisco, and you're not on a winning team per se. So there's a lot to be discussed. So my boss and I, Elaine Lance, had a discussion about Vladimir Guerrero because this has been bandied about on the Facebook pages. Would you trade Brett Beatty and Luis Angel Acuna to the Blue Jays for Vlad? Now, a lot of people saying, well, Vlad's got one more, he's in his walk year. He'll be a free agent at the end of the 2025 season. However, a Brett Beatty, Acuna package for Vlad, I think I'm doing that as soon as it's offered to me. I mean, Vlad comes from a great pedigree. His father was just phenomenal. Vlad is coming off a phenomenal season with the Blue Jays. They're not going anywhere per se. Beatty and Acuna fills a lot of needs on that team. So why wouldn't you do something like that if you're the New York Mets and or / Toronto Blue Jays? So a lot of people also talk about Jose Iglesias. We have to re-sign him. Now, very much like, I don't know, if you're in a relationship, right? Emotions get in your decision-making process. And I think you have to get rid of the emotions concerning Jose Iglesias. He was a spark plug. He was phenomenal. We got the song. I told you all last week or a week before that Barbara got her line dance community to do the Oh My God line dance song. It's phenomenal. There's the Oh My God sign, the OMG sign. But that's all emotional based. He's going to be 37, 38 years old. He got tired. He got tired at the end of the season. His back slowed down. But he wasn't supposed to be an everyday player. And because of the situations with the injuries and the this and the that, he became an everyday player and he produced. He did a tremendous job. He was a key part of our success in the 2024 season. I totally agree with that. But you have no room for him on the bench. You have no room to put Iglesias on that roster. So I don't see him coming back. I don't see the opportunity to sign him. Mark Brooks, my brother from another. Let's put you on the big screen. Pete is supposedly a dedicated Met. He shouldn't even care about the very big money. Well, Mark, that's true, right? Pete's saying all the right things, right? He wants to be a Met for life. He loves the city. He loves the fans. He loves his teammates. Yada, 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 yada. But he also deserves his money. But I agree with you, right? And I've said this ad nauseum, and it's been a while since I used that word, right, Harold? I've said ad nauseum. How much more filet mignon can you eat with $180 million or $200 million? How many high-end cars can you drive at one time with $180 million compared to $200 million, right? So no matter the money that Pete signs for, Soto signs for, whomever signs for, they're going to be well taken care of. They're going to have phenomenal financial freedom. They're going to be able to buy whatever toy they want, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, with that said, this is a free enterprise country, right? You should be able, capitalism, you should be able to maximize your worth and your potential. So does Pete agree to a hometown discount? With the caveat that whatever he leaves on the table, the Mets commit to improving the team up in other areas, i.e. starting pitching. Now let's talk about the starting pitching. You got Schnell, you got Fried, you got Burns, right? You got Crochet from the Tigers that's available. Or is it the White Sox? No, Tigers, I'm pretty sure. White Sox. Somebody help me out. I don't pay attention to the junior league all that much. But you got Crochet, who you could trade for. And allow me to say another thing. While we have the top 3-4 in the 50 pipeline in Major League Baseball, prospects are just that. They're prospects. How many prospects really come to fruition? It's a crapshoot. These prospects. You don't know if they're coming, they're going, they're going, they're coming. Blah 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 blah. It seems like Vientos, who was a prospect, has worked out, where Beatty, who's a higher prospect, has not worked out so far. I still like to give or see where Beatty could come from, and I don't know why I'm fading here with the quality. It's I kind of look a little faded away a little bit. I was kind of clear before. I don't know if it's the lens or whatnot. White Sox, thanks, Harold. Crochet's from the White Sox. I appreciate you, buddy. So, I want to be able to understand where we stand in the Soto sweepstakes, in the pitching sweepstakes. Now, Alan also talked to me about going after the closer that the Astros are making available, Presley. And you can't bring in a closer and displace Diaz. Diaz is our closer. We're dedicated. We gave him a $90 million contract, and we're dedicated to him. And it's been proven. It's even proven when you bring him in the ninth inning that he could fail. But it's been more proven. And here I am. I'm back to focus. That's interesting. It's also been proven that when you brought him in the seventh or eighth inning, he didn't produce as a closer. And it's a mental thing, guys. You have to really understand the makeup of a closer. And when you don't put them in a closing situation, they're a different animal. I don't know why that is. It doesn't make sense to me. But it's a thing, right? Now, another thing we have to talk about is Severino and Manaea. I honestly don't think we should bring both of them back. And if we brought one of them back, my choice is Manaea. A couple reasons. He's a lefty, number one. He's redeveloped his arm slot that is very difficult to pick up. And the Phillies and the opposition went so far as to set up a pitching machine in the bullpen from the other mound, from the mound to the left of the mound straight on to the hitter to see the ball come in, to get a better look on the angle on that ball, how it was coming in. So you really can't replicate his motion, his delivery, his etc., right? Because with a pitching machine, you could time it. And that's the problem, right? You could really click in and time it. That's why when I went to the batting cage with Danny, we went in the fast cage. Not that I killed 7 out of 10 balls, but I made contact with 7 out of 10 balls pitched at me because I timed it, because it's mechanical. But with a live pitcher, a slight hesitation here, a little lower arm angle there, over the top here, your timing is shot. You can't time a live pitcher. You can time a machine because the machine is constant, it's repetitive, at the same tick, at the same angle, at the same this, at the same that. So, Clark, I am trying to stay. Patrick Burke, thanks for joining us. I appreciate you. First time, long time, Patrick, I'm assuming. So let's put you on the big board, my friend. I do really appreciate you being here. Patrick Burke wants to add Jack Flaherty and Burns as starters. Tanner Scott, another top-tier reliever for bullpen. Re-sign Pete, Winker, and Iglesias, and sign Ozuna for DH. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot, Patrick. I'm gonna go and say I'm good with everything. I don't know. Listen, if we re-sign Winker, and this is a good, I appreciate your input, Patrick, and I hope you join us. If we bring back Winker, then Marte's got to go, either via trade, buy out his contract. It's a lot of money, because I think Winker needs to be an everyday player. I don't think he could be a part-time player. And I think he's going to look for full-time player money, in my opinion. I could be wrong. Clark, why don't you tell us why we don't want Flaherty? I'm interested to hear this. Now, was Flaherty a Cardinal, Clark? You'll have to enlighten me on this. And I'm so happy that I'm getting new viewers here. This is great. I appreciate that. And Patrick, I have to say thank you for joining me on YouTube. That's greatly appreciated. Yeah, I know Flaherty was a Dodger. I don't, was he always a Dodger, Patrick? I don't know why Clark is telling us, because Clark is a diehard Cardinal fan, and I think maybe he had a cup of coffee with the Cardinals. Yeah, listen, I wouldn't be opposed to Flaherty either. I'll admit, I'd want Walker Buehler before I want Flaherty if we're going to go for the Dodger pitchers. So we'll see what happens there. Card, yeah, thanks, Harold. Flaherty played with the Cards and the Tigers. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. So that's, I figured Flaherty had a cup of coffee with the Cardinals. You know, and I spoke, Patrick, before you joined us. I spoke about Iglesias. There's really no room on the roster for Iglesias, sadly, if you're going to carry the kids, right? If you're going to give Beatty another opportunity, if you're going to carry Acuna, you got Mauricio coming back. You still got McNeil, who's an enigma. And I think you need to, if the Toronto Blue Jays said, throw McNeil into that Beatty, Acuna deal for Vlad, I would absolutely include McNeil and not even lose sleep over it. I said after McNeil won his batting title that we should have cashed in the value. That's me speaking out loud. I was really never, even during the batting title season that he had, a McNeil fan. I think he was very selfish. All right, Clark, we got some information about Flaherty. He started out in St. Louis. Then in the summer of discontent, he sat out a game in protest, but never went to any of the protests. Just didn't show up at the ballpark. He took a day off. All right, so that's why you're talking about that. That's why you call him Jacktivist. Listen, I'm heavily into the politics scene, right? And I'm purposely avoiding that conversation tonight. However, baseball, and I've beaten baseball up for becoming political, i.e. what happened in Atlanta with the All-Star game when they were going to honor Hank Aaron. Oh, my God. That was the biggest political bullcrap ever. And now guess who's getting the 2025 All-Star game? Atlanta, but you're already on at Hank Aaron, so that you lost that opportunity, right? And Manfred is just so freaking out of touch with the baseball community, who is us, right? It's not the big ticket buyers. It's not corporate America that are baseball fans. It's us, the people that take time here every Thursday night to come and watch Angie's Angles, the 500 to 900 people that watch it post production. And by the way, I have to give thanks. I put out a little request last week. You guys got me up to about 180 views on YouTube. I've never hit the triple digits. I'm on it. I'm touched. On Facebook, I've gotten up to 1,800 post views. So I appreciate all the dedication from you guys. I do love you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, Clark, I'm going to have to agree with you. I mean, if a guy sits out a game for a political statement, for a moral compass, I disagree. I disagree that this is a team game. You need to back your teammates. Right, Clark. So if it was a simple showmanship protest with nothing, no meat behind it, then I can't disagree with you, Clark. So I can't. I'm not that knowledgeable on it, but talent wise, he's got the talent, and that's all that really that I look at. Right? I don't even with Ozuna, right, with all his baggage. Now I don't think I'd want him on the Mets, even though he's got a potent bat, because same thing with Jose Reyes. When his domestic violence came to light, thank God he left. That has no place in any life, right? I don't care. He's a baseball player. He could be a garbage man. He could be this. He could be that. He could be. He got my job. If you're found guilty of domestic violence, and I don't care that his wife forgave him. That's between him and his wife. But any man that hits a woman has no place in my world, and I try to profess that very, very much. Now, I don't want to go on to this political tangent, so I'm going to get away from that. Yeah, Clark, he's telling us that Flaherty and Fowler both sat out and didn't show up for that game. Yeah, you can't do that, right? And unfortunately, you got the union backing them up, because if I was the owner of that team, I would suck it up and he wouldn't play another game for me. I'd pay him, make him suit up, maybe keep the book, maybe fill the water jug. But yeah, so I can't support those guys. Right, Clark. I agree with you on Azuna. I just copied that, So I don't know, what to say. This is gonna be very interesting. I want to thank you, Patrick, for joining us. I don't know, Patrick, if this is the first time viewing my podcast. We thank you for that. You may or may not know that we do a prayer circle at the end of my podcast every week. You guys could DM me, send me your requests. We cover them here on Angie's Angles. And so we're at the 8:53 mark, and we're going to go. That went fast. I really like the dialogue here tonight. Oh, thank you, Patrick. I appreciate you. So here we go. Harold, we're praying for Dawn Squared, your wife and your co-worker. Scott Tobias, your mom and wife. Linda Stein, we're praying for your dad. Mark Brooks, my friend. Stay vertical. We're praying for your dad, who just celebrated, Mark, 93 or 94 birthday. Nick Troyan wants to add prayers for mom getting her second eye done for cataract surgery. So, Mom Troyano, we're praying for you. Thanks, Nick, for that. I appreciate you, Nick. Kevin Elliott, as you face your health challenges down in Florida. The Krause family, we're praying for Aubrey as she fights cancer and she's in remission. Clark, your brother-in-law Brad, your sister Tricia, and yourself, young sir. 94 for Mark Brooks' dad. Happy birthday, Mr. Brooks. Deb and Lee down in Maryland, we're praying for you guys. Mr. McGowan, sir, we have your 6 as you too face that ugly C word. Mariam Bello, it was nice chatting with you. We're praying for your mom out there in Las Vegas. Big John, Smoke Therapy Lounge. We're praying for cousin Richie, Phil's Nona, and your friend Irene. Larry Levy, we're praying for your wife Frida as she too faces the C word. Tom from Smoke Therapy, we're praying for Paul and Janet. John, we're praying for Elizabeth. We're praying for Larry. And Coach, your friend Tom, who lost his nephew, we're praying for all those people. And as I did last year, peeps, let's say a prayer for America. Regardless of what side of the aisle you are on, we must come together. We must support each other. We must respect our opinions of each other. And let's get it done. Let's enter a time of peace and prosperity. I think we've all had a rough 8 years. So yes, unity. Let's pray that under the incoming administration that we could get the world on the same page. Let's resolve the Middle East once and for all. So, Patrick, I do hope that you enjoyed our show tonight. You haven't seen me go off the deep end yet. That'll typically happen when something egregious happens in MLB, or especially with the New York Mets, or if Rob Manfred does something stupid, which, in my opinion, whenever he breathes, he's doing something stupid. But that's it. So we're at day 56, Mark. I ordered up some pizza. It should be in the lounge any minute. It's been Angie's Angles, come to you live from Smoke Therapy, 215 Ronkonkoma Avenue, Ronkonkoma, New York. If you're ever in the neighborhood, please stop by. I'll throw you on. We'll have an amazing podcast. Join us next week at 8:30. Patrick, I hope you become a regular. We appreciate you. And Harold, Rob Manfred hates baseball. Yes, he does. God bless. Good night. I love you.